Okay, it's being recorded. Okay, I'm good with that. Thanks, Karen. And first of all, let me say thank you for your leadership, your vision, and your endless energy and commitment that really helps keep progress and moving forward for not only for ACTIVZ USA, but for the ACTIVZ community and family as a whole. To everybody that I see, I always put it in, you know, the view where I can see the Brady Bunch lineup. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. You've made a decision, and that decision is right now, this time is more valuable to be on this Zoom call than doing anything else. And you've made that decision based upon your priorities and your expectations. Similarly, as I have, an opportunity to briefly discuss and provide insights to the ACTIVZ community, the ACTIVZ product line, the ACTIVZ outcome, but also what Mat Winter thinks about that. Not to say what I think is the most important, but to give you a perspective, because each and every one of the boxes I see here has a perspective, and your perspective, your insights, your outcomes, and your experiences are just as important. It's important to understand that. I started out with ACTIVZ as a disbeliever. What brought me to the table, though, was the reputation, the friendship, and my belief in Karen Toth. So I would say to each and every one of you, as either a distributor or as a customer or whatever element you are within our ACTIVZ community and family, you come with a baseline of reputation and credibility to your family, to your neighborhood and community, to those around you, to those that you're going to meet and those that you want to meet and don't want to meet. That credibility and that reputation goes a long way. And that's what brought me to the table. And then what kept me at the table with ACTIVZ is the science. Almost every company I've been associated with has it has a product and a service. If the product is not technically feasible and doesn't inspire me, then really the service that the company provides is not really going to underpin that product. That's a methodology I've used to assess companies. My last command as a 3-star in the Navy, I had a 3,000 industry partner global supply chain, and we had to do continuous assessments of their ability to provide product, and then the service after the product to ensure that we had a best value. And knitting that all together in the combinations and permutations was quite complex with a lot of uncertainty and a lot of anxiety, which I embraced. That anxiety, I call it VUCA, for those that are familiar with VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. It is the external environment that we all live in. Doesn't matter in your professional life, your personal life. And one of my sayings is you got to embrace the VUCA and enjoy the uncertainty. Use it as a leverage to understand the complexity that drives the ambiguity that'll allow us to level out the volatility so we can be successful. And as I walked through the ACTIVZ product line, and at the initial engagement, it was just the link and the facial products. When I listened to what the science was behind Link, it didn't have to convince me. My previous command before F-35 was the mad scientist of our Navy and Marine Corps, the Chief of Naval Research. And we were deep in the science and actual transition into capability product of gut to brain phenomena, exciting and activating the gut environment to stimulate and broaden and accentuate the pathways to brain for increased cognitive awareness at enduring timelines, mostly for our special operators and for our sailors and Marines that needed to have that cognitive awareness to be mission successful and to be safe. So as I listened to David and I listened to Karen explain the formulary and the organic makeup of Link, they didn't have to convince me about gut to brain. What they needed to convince me was that actual formulary, right? That chocolate and peanut butter that comes together, like in a Reese's, it actually works. And I said, the only way I'm going to be convinced of that is if I do it. And so I started taking Link in November of 2018, and I kept a log. I monitored my normal annual behavior, like we all know. Each and every one of you here knows your body better than anybody else, better than any doctor, better than any other family member. You know that a nasal drip is probably the beginning of something. You get that ache in the arm when it's cold outside, whatever it is. I kept a log as I used Link, and what I found was a reduction in the normal sniffles and other types of abnormalities aligned to Mat Winter's health. I also noticed a marked decrease of gut bloating. Now, I didn't change my diet. I didn't change my exercise. I was still full bore in what I was doing in F-35, but I took Link, and I found that it did make a difference for Mat Winter. Now, that doesn't mean it makes a difference for 7 billion human beings that are on this earth. But what it does do is it gives me a sense of credibility within my own self to be able to look at Link, understand the science of the product that's real and works, and then the product itself and how it affected Mat Winter. I would submit, looking across and knowing a number of you from names and from interactions, that you have a similar baseline of experience, and you've generated your narrative with the help of others on how best to bring forward the product. One of the things I encourage people is not to sell the product, right? Most people can smell insincerity a mile away. I talk about the product in the terms of Mat Winter and in the terms of what it has done, and being quite upfront and forthright that it doesn't necessarily going to be the same for all people. But the science is true, and the science of Link, and I'll talk about the other, Optimin and genomics in a second, is data driven. And so as you think about your current way that you are a distributor and generate new business and new customers and new distributors, or for those of you that are just starting out, it's okay to take that time. In fact, you should, and come up with your narrative so it doesn't sound scripted, because it shouldn't be. It should come from the heart, and for Link, it ought to come from the gut. But it should come from your sincere belief that the product does what it says it does. And so the testimonial from Link played out for about 7 months for me. And then I was asked to do a couple of video clips and a couple of write-ups based upon that data. And then Optimin came on the line, and genomics, before it was USA approved, sort of showed up simultaneously. And I'll tell you testimonials from both of those. I'll start with Optimin. I saw no difference, none. And I'm listening to people that have chronic pain and arthritis and other things, and they take Optimin, and they're describing the marked change almost overnight, within days and even less than days. And I felt cheated. I was like, why not me? And so, as a good scientist and engineer, I looked at the data and I started finding out that for those that are in relatively good health without chronic issues, Optimin works more as a silent soldier for you, without the trumpets blaring and the confetti falling about miraculous pain reduction. But silent soldier at the molecular level, cellular level, in inflammation reduction and cellular health. But for those that truly do have chronic issues, I don't know if Aaron is online with us today or not, but I've listened to his story. It was to his experiences, not a story, it's experience. And for those others that have truly chronic pain, the formularity of Optimin truly does trumpet, throw the confetti, and make a marked difference. So it's important that you as distributors and as ACTIVZ stewards of the product and service can be able to explain how the products affect you and why they wouldn't affect somebody else, so that you give expectation management to your customers. That's what they want. It's like when you take your car into maintenance and they say, hey, it'll be done on Friday. You come on Friday, say, well, we found something, it'll be next Friday. You come next Friday, it's next Friday, next Friday, next Friday. You're really upset when somebody could have looked at it and said, this looks like it's going to be a 3 or 4 week job, but if we tell him that, he might not come to us. What expectation management. And then I will tell you, of all three, let me talk about my testimonial on genomics. I love learning every day. And I learn a lot. I listen, I absorb, I'm a sponge for data and information. And when I was listening to genomics, I go, well, first of all, it took me like 3 weeks to be able to pronounce that acronym, right? And come on, I'm a Department of Defense military guy. That's all we do is pronounce our acronyms. And I'm trying to figure out, Genomics and XMECNO and finally genomics. And I had to put it phonetically on a piece of paper. I said, I got it. But then as I listened to the testimonials, but more importantly, the science about NRF2, right? NRFRF, right? That's where the NRF2 comes from. It's not just twice the power. And that this naturally recurring protein in our body that is released naturally through different actions and activities and sequences in our body without any kind of supplements, gave me a sense of, okay, so what we're doing is we're taking what God has architected inside of us and said, if there's a way that we could accelerate that activation and keep it at a level that allows continuous cellular health and building of that immunity across the cellular enterprise in our body, and reduce inflammation and reduce the oxidative stress, which lots of data and studies to show are causal factors to a whole litany, a list of ailments and diseases. It made sense to me that if you could activate that faster and keep it up on, think about being on a ski boat on a lake. You want to get that boat up on the plane. Otherwise, it's no fun, and especially the guy getting drugged in the water behind, right? So as you take genomics and you get that level in your body and you get up on that NRF2 activation plane, it continuously goes and continuously helps and emboldens the immunity system at the cellular level. And it's important to understand that it's not a magic pill like Optimin or Link. It's not one and done. It's important that as you think about your body, you think about the 7 layers of your skin and the cells that come apart. The only place in your body where cells don't flake off are in your eyes. That's why you get cataracts. You start getting a cataract the day you're born, right? So as you think about that, NRF2 is generating an continuous, enduring environment for cellular health. And what I'm finding now is I've been taking now genomics for almost a year. I'm finding that little things that used to take longer. I'm a peach, right? I bruise easy. May be a tough guy, right? 3-star admiral, but I bruise easy. You carry a box and put them on your, on your thighs. Next thing you know, you got these 2 black lines. I started noticing a reduction, not an elimination, but a reduction in my bruising in normal activities. Okay. I don't say that that's specifically genomics, but it's a data point. So what are you doing? How are you capturing the experience of genomics, Optimum, and Link in your own personal experiences, but also asking your customers and your downline teammates to do something that's really simple. Keep a journal. I keep a journal. People say, oh my gosh, I don't have the time to do that. I'm too busy. I got kids running around. I got to get out to work. A journal is something as simple as when I wake up in the morning, I log the time I woke up and how I felt. Strong legs, bloated gut, dehydrated, backache, or, light gut, feeling good, ready to start the day, no anxiety, just a couple of words. And then as you start to look at that data over weeks, months, and years, which is what I do, I've seen trends and I can correlate them to when I started taking within plus or minus a couple of weeks of genomics and Link. So I'm a believer. That's my testimonial. The business side and the facial, I say this in every one I get to. I like the toner. I have a hard time with the mud. I just have a hard time with it. No matter how many times David Brown tells me how easy it is to apply in the shower, I have a hard time with it. But that doesn't mean that when somebody asks me about it, I tell them, yeah, I wouldn't. I tell them I don't use it, but here are the benefits and you can walk through it. So again, the spectrum of providing the data of the product and your service behind that product and not trying to sell anything. It'll either sell itself or it won't. And then the whole business structure, I'll let either, Karen or Paige or the others that are experts in what I think is a pretty interesting MLM structure, which I've never been part of before. But I am a card-carrying distributor of ACTIVZ. I am a distributor. I have a downline. I'm learning that back office, all the resources that are there. I've taken those resources and I've knitted together my own information pack that I carry on my cell phone. And then when I walk, I can zap it to somebody that's interested instead of saying, hey, I'll get that to you tomorrow. It's like, and then they can look at it on their cell phone when they're commuting home. The immediacy of understanding and then follow up. So to me, I'll wrap up this because I was supposed to stay within 10, 15 minutes. The product and the science behind the product is proven. And you can take that to the bank or to the Petri dish, however you want to say it. And the ACTIVZ business framework, the resources that are at your disposal, the understanding of how ACTIVZ products provide health, provide a business opportunity for your customers and for yourself. I have seen, and I've been aboard now for a little over 2 years, and I plan to stay aboard ACTIVZ going forward. No matter where I go, Karen, I plan to stay aboard with ACTIVZ. So with that, I'll stop. If there's questions or comments about anything that I may have said or other things that you're interested in talking about, I'm open for questions. Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you, Matt. I know, I'll come find you wherever you are, so you're going to be involved. So we want want to thank you so much for sitting down with us tonight and telling us a little bit about why ACTIVZ is important to you. We so graciously and gratefully appreciate you being a part of this wonderful company and telling just about everybody you know about us. You mentioned Aaron. He is sitting up here in this left corner. He is always, he's under the NERF 2 veteran sign if you look at him. And Aaron actually is going to be our speaker next Monday. So it was a great lead in, Matt, didn't even know it, for that Aaron's testimony, which is amazing. The following week, September 7th, Lisa Dearman is on here. Most of you know Lisa. She has a fantastic link. You can check it under findyourlisa.com. She is amazing. But nothing says greatness like Vice Admiral Winter, in my opinion. So I'm very humbled to have you on the call tonight. And with that, we're going to take it as a wrap. Tomorrow is learn a little bit more about the business. So as Matt said, we will have an expert on tomorrow to tell you the highlights of your ACTIVZ business and the opportunity. Matt, thank you so very much for attending. And everyone, have a great night.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Matt. Bye.
Thank you, Matt and Karen.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Good night, everybody.
Bye for now.
Thank you, Matt. Have a great
Bye-bye.
night, everyone.
Bye-bye.